From growing rice and bananas on a small farm in the Philippines to serving dairy operations around the world, Dr. Mike Catangui's life work has focused on one of the most underestimated profit drains in dairy: insects and parasites. In this episode, we get to know the entomologist and parasitologist leading the charge at MWI and leading change to uncover how smarter natural solutions are reshaping the future of how we feed the world. Welcome to the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. This is the podcast for dairy producers and professionals who are committed to moving our industry forward. I'm Peggy Coffeen, and each week we bring you the leaders, the lessons, and real-world stories from the people who have built the dairy business we know today and those who are shaping its future. Join us on the journey by following Uplevel Dairy on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and subscribe at upleveldairy.com to get new episodes and our Dairy Insights blogs right in your inbox. NWI Animal Health is your partner in animal health, where our people drive us to think forward every day. NWI Animal Health is committed to working with you to identify cutting-edge solutions to your common challenges. We unite with innovators and manufacturers to provide access to products and solutions designed to help you find success in each aspect of your animal health business. Dr. Mike, welcome to the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. I have to say, you are the very first entomologist and parasitologist that I have ever interviewed in my 20 years of dairy journalism. What would you say is the importance of entomology, parasitology, when we talk about the dairy industry and its impact on producers and cattle?
Well, dairy cattle, pretty much all livestock, they are affected by parasites. And so parasites are a limiting factor in production. They also impact their health. And for example, in dairy, we have two species of flies, stable flies and house flies. They carry diseases, and then they also reduce the milk production by up to 20%. So entomology is the study of insects. And entomologists are the ones that practice the science of entomology. And entomology involves pretty much the educational, the business, and the scientific study of insects. And for us in dairy, we have several insects and parasites that affect dairy production and health.
Mm-hmm. So bugs and worms.
Yeah.
That's right.
They're important. Yeah, they're important, and we know it because the producers themselves know that they can be very important in their farm. So
yeah, and so throughout your career, you've made a study and put your life's work professionally into understanding and researching and finding solutions in these areas, but there's a pretty interesting story behind how you ever got interested in the subject matter, and also how you ended up here. Because
Yes.
if I'm correct, your story actually starts in the Philippines.
That's right. I was born in a small rural area in the Philippines, and being the eldest in the family, I started early in helping out our family, my dad and my mom, manage our farms. And so it's different. We raise rice, coconut, banana, raise a little bit of poultry and swine, small scale. But the principle is the same. Farming is a business. And so I started in the Philippines, and then I came to the U.S. for education. I got my bachelor's degree in agriculture in the Philippines. And we train us in general agriculture, and by the junior year, they asked us to pick a major. And so I thought I already know agronomy, animal science, but I didn't know much about entomology, and so I picked that as a major. And so that's. But I am a generally trained agriculturist with a major in entomology. Then I came here to South Dakota State University for my master's degree. I picked South Dakota State because I know South Dakota is, it's a good place to train for agriculture. And then I obtained my PhD in Lincoln, Nebraska. And then in Lincoln, Nebraska, I actually, my research insect would be the stable fly. Now, stable flies at that time, my advisor told me to research the economic impact, the impact of stable flies on the rate of gain or the weight gain of feedlot cattle. And it turns out the stable flies are also a pest of dairy. And so one insect, same insect, it impacts both dairy cattle and feedlots. It reduces average daily gain by up to 16%. And on the dairy side, stable flies reduce milk production up to 20%. So same insect. I did my research mainly on beef cattle on feedlot. And then when I came here, when I joined the company, it's the same insect, so it's not hard for me to kind of pivot into the dairy side of the impact of that same insect called the stable flies.
So it's interesting to me, Dr. Mike, that you grew up in agriculture in the Philippines. You grew up on farming in your community there. When you came to the U.S. as a student, as a young man, what do you remember it being like when you kind of stepped off the plane and saw what American farming was like?
Oh my goodness! But first is the weather. I knew there was winter coming, so I made sure that I came here in May of '86 in South Dakota in Brookings, so that way I could prepare for the winter. When the snow started falling, I was outside, enjoying the snow. I've never seen one.
You're making snow angels, huh?
Yeah, I took a lot of pictures, sent them to the Philippines. Hey, look at this. I know no snow, but I do like snow because we didn't have snow in the Philippines. So even my parents, my brothers and sisters, they want to come here just to experience the snow, and then they tend to leave in January or February when it gets too cold. But, a lot of folks, they don't like the snow, but I want to let you know that some people, especially those in Asia, we like snow, and we pretend, do we decorate our Christmas trees with cotton, but here is the real thing, So, and then another nice tidbit, if you will, when I went to Nebraska in '87, so I was coming from Hawaii. I was already on my way back to the Philippines. But my advisor, Dr. Campbell, asked me if I wanted to do my PhD. So I have to make a U-turn I was already in Hawaii visiting my uncle. And then I had to come back to North Platte, Nebraska on a winter. And so I had, my first stop was JCPenney to buy me a winter coat again. And so, and then of course, a really funny one was, I thought, the first time I heard a song, Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Who are these people? What are they singing about? I've never heard this song, but different culture, but you kind of enjoy it, you remember, songs and things, the snow, those are part of my experience when I came here, so.
Yeah, so it was a environmental shock and a culture shock.
I wouldn't say it's a shock, it's kind of a curiosity, much like if you go to Japan, whenever you go somewhere, you just keep an open mind, experience everything that they can offer. So sometimes it's funny,
Yeah, wow. And so this is the thing that you wanted to go all in on, dive in on, of understanding. Like, what was it about that? Was there a moment?
I tend to hone into something I don't know about. At that time, I didn't know anything about, stable flies. I've heard of it in the Philippines, but when I came to Nebraska, my advisor worked with insects affecting feeder cattle on the feedlot. And so I had several options. You go look at insects on the pasture, like corn flies and phase flies. But as you know, North Platte, Nebraska is known for feedlots. And so the main insects, the most important insects in feedlots would be the stable fly. And so I chose that one as a research topic. And then I spent about 4 to 5 years and maybe 4 summers in North Platte, Nebraska. And so by the time I finish, I pretty much know the effect of that fly, the importance, the economic impact on the feedlot cattle, and that would be up to 16% loss in average daily gain, which is very, very important.
Significant.
Yeah.
So, when you are a research student and working towards your graduate degrees and PhDs, it's not always a luxurious job.
No, it was.
So I gotta ask, like, what stands out in your mind when you think about some of the things that you had to do as a grad student?
Oh,
Insects must
I have
have
one.
must have been something.
Yeah, stood out in my mind. I had to count flies 3 times within the day, and so that would involve, maybe 2 or 3 feet away from a cow, and then looking at the legs and counting, when I counted the flies. And so I did that for 4 summers, and then I remember. The folks in the office in the air conditioned room, they didn't want me in because I stunk. But I had to be there to count the flies, and of course, when you're in the feedlot, then you tend to absorb the odoriferous emanation from the from the ground. But at that time, that was the first study. So
Wow. So millions of flies.
yes, millions of flies, maybe 4 million every summer for 4 summers.
How'd you ever get into the dairy side then?
Yeah, the stable flies are also a pest of dairy. So everywhere I go in Wisconsin, in Idaho, California, New York, everywhere you go on a dairy farm, you have stable flies. And so all I needed to do, again, was look at the impact of, I didn't do the research on dairy. It was already existing studies done by several scientists that they know. I still need to kind of study where you find the flies, the biology in hutches, for example, and the impact. But the economic impact, luckily for me, is already known to be 10 to 20% loss per day in milk production. So, but I just kind of reviewed the biology of the of flies, not on dairy, on feedlot now, but on the dairy side. A lot of my experiences actually came here in Wisconsin, and we're working with Larry. So Larry Meyer, who is our representative for MWI here in Wisconsin. So,
So you and Larry Meyer, good
Yes.
friend of mine as well. We're hitting up the countryside, gaining a better understanding of the impacts of flies on dairy.
Yes.
Oh, the stories that I bet you two could tell.
yes. 2015, I remember it well. In fact, we were just talking about it last night with Larry, and the year was 2015, and we were visiting a nursery, a calf nursery, and we had a chance to demo to them for the first time a natural insecticide called natural pyrethrins. And so we kind of begged the farm manager to let us spray the nursery. And then it was the outcome was so good, that there were no flies for about a week. It was an instant kill, and the important thing is that the product came from chrysanthemum flowers, and so that was the first time we knew that we have something here. So as you learn by visiting farms, and that was the first one I think that was a really success story for us. Yeah. And then from then on, we duplicated it wherever we went. MWI is a international company. So we kind of duplicated it where dairy is raised. Could be Michigan, Minnesota, could be Idaho, it could be California. It could also be New York. So everywhere we go, or we went, we saw stable flies, and then we had a solution now, and it's something that's natural. So.
And so was this one of the early natural pathways for dealing with flies?
Well, the product has been around for over 1,000 years. It was the first insecticide known to mankind, but we kind of forgot about it. But there are some developments that happened. Now we have a steady source of natural pyrethrins from Australia, for example, where they're now farming it on a large scale. And so the product already was available. It's been the first insecticide known to man. It's been around for over 1,000 years in Europe, in Asia. But that we are the proponent for its use on the dairy side because it's natural. There's less impact, no chance of accumulating in the milk, less impact, to human and animal health, and it's sustainable. The crops are grown, the pyrethrum plants are grown in Tasmania in Australia, and then they get sent to Minneapolis for refinement. There's a refinery, and that's where the product's made. And so it's kind of a global deal, but it's very interesting because instead of us, going really high tech forward, all this high technology, we're actually coming back to low technology, and that's because there's no resistance to natural pyrethrins. So.
Sometimes we stray from the basics and the natural pathway, only to come back to it later.
Yeah, it's the theme right now, even in human health, the natural pyrethrins been around for a long time. And also, by the way, we have a lab in Sioux Falls called MWI Animal Health Entomology Lab. We've been testing resistance from across the U.S. On feedlots, poultry, on dairy. And so we have a lot of data now that shows that we can't find any resistance on these natural products. I don't know whether insects will eventually develop resistance to it, but this time there's none. So.
Wow. So when you think about that example, especially, what really stands out in your mind as the overall impact on the dairy industry of bringing something like this to the marketplace, but really as an option for producers to manage fly control, in a way that is in alignment with really the pressures from consumers and the general public on how we raise production animals as well.
Yeah, these days everybody wants something that's natural, less impact on the environment, sustainable. But for us as entomologists and parasitologists, there's one extra benefit of natural products, and there's no resistance. A good example is there's a dairy in Iowa. They like one synthetic product particularly well. They've been using it now for many years. And so the first year it was 100% effective. And by the third year it was only 40%. They still use it last year because, again, we never tell them they like the product so well. And then the last test, this November, it was only 16 or 19%. So we tell them, okay, is this still worth your money? If so, then, if it's still acceptable to you. So we never tell them what to use or not to use. We let them decide based on the data. So.
I wonder, though, too, what have you been able to share with others when it comes to a global perspective of food production?
Yeah, believe it or not, it's the same insects.
Yeah.
For example, flies found in poultry in the Philippines, the same fly that's found here in North Carolina, for example, or Iowa.
Oh.
So the biology is the same, the environment. Maybe the biology is a little bit, but not much, not significant difference. But what I can share is that the same insects, stable flies in dairy, we have water buffaloes. They reproduce some milk on the water buffaloes, but stable flies bite them, horned flies bite them. And so insects is, I wouldn't say it's the unifying factor, but that's what I can share, so the principle is the same insects, but on different part of the world. It could be China, it could be Norway, Sweden. Mm-hmm. And then, when I was in Switzerland, in Gruyères, that's where they produce Gruyères cheese. I look at my family was towards the gift shop. I was looking at the legs of the cows there.
Did you have your clicker? Were you counting the flies?
I counted them, but I don't think they want to control stale flies there because they want the bells to ring,
Oh.
And so it could be. So another thing is in China, they're having issues with flies on dairy, and so I asked them, send me a video or a picture. Sure enough, those stable flies in China, on the Mongolia area where they have a lot of dairy production, and so yes, luckily they're the same insects that I know about here in the U.S., except that they're a different country or different continent. So.
That's really interesting. Yes. I wouldn't have expected that. So different geographical areas, different climates, different places around the world, but that fly, that stable
Stable
fly
flies is the same.
the stable fly is a stable fly, no matter where you go.
You take them for granted because here in the U.S., for example, or anywhere, when you see flies, oh, they're just part of farming, you know. But because there are now studies that quantify their effect on weight gain or milk production, and that they carry diseases, then all of a sudden they're not just flies anymore, or they shouldn't be. Some people still think that they're part of farming, but in calves they could transmit crypto. It could cause scours on calves, and so stable flies also transmits the bovine leukemia virus, and so now we're gaining more and more understanding. They're not just bugs anymore that directly impact. They also carry diseases that maybe it's even worse than the direct impact on in terms of biting and infestation. So the disease transmission, we're now finding out that flies can transmit the bird flu, for example.
Oh. You've developed some options and solutions between chemical and natural product, but what's next? Like, what are you going after now in your work and in your vision of how a better understanding and research into whether it's entomology or parasitology can get that next level of performance, production, and overall animal health?
Yes, now I know why your podcast is called Uplevel. So we're moving to the next level. That would be for us in entomology and bug control, is to find what else is there in terms of natural product. We're not done. I mean, there are still undiscovered plants, or sources for natural products. We're working on some right now, in the lab, and these are really food-grade materials. They smell good also, and so for us, that would be the next level. Look for more products that can be used that's already maybe better than what we have right now, even though we have natural pyrethroids, but that's what's next, I think. And maybe refine those control equipment on how to treat them, make it easier for us. But for me, especially what we do in the lab, we are after right now maybe it's 3 or 4 natural products that we're pursuing right now, and they come from really good sources here in the U.S. And they're all natural. So we have data now that shows that those products are the next step, on the next level. So.
And so it's those natural solutions that you're really gravitating toward,
Yes.
and the industry as well.
Yes, because we've been successful with natural pyrethroids, we are actively looking. First in the U.S., maybe there's something out there, in South America, just like you're discovering pharmacy-related products for human health. There's also a move to kind of discover what else is out, because we don't know unless and by the way, you can go to the past, also ask the old people, what is your traditional way of controlling insects and parasites? Maybe there's something there, But in terms of efficiency, always refine efficiency and also, but now we have the additional responsibility to find something that's sustainable, and then not harmful or harmless to human health, animal health, and also on the resistant side. So there's always a challenge, but it's always, we know that there are products there, additional products that would make our job even easier and even safer and even more sustainable. So
yeah, so I sense the enthusiasm that you have as you think about and talk about the what's to come for the ways to mitigate insects and parasites, and so for you, you're not done, are you?
No, no, and it's nice that well, agriculture will never be done. I mean, we always need to eat, right? And there's always and the nice thing, of course, is we don't need to just keep on going forward, like in chemistry, finding. You look back, what did they do in the past? It turns out that's even better than moving into the synthetic chemistry side. So, but demand will always be, it's a basic need of humans to eat, And then as long as we raise those crops, those animals, there will be insects that are trying to limit those production. So we will never be done, and I kind of enjoy it. But when you're in agriculture, you're never done. But I think that's it's something that will never go away. And for me, I just need to help out in kind of making sure that the production is more efficient and safe. But yeah, there's always something to be discovered yet in agriculture.
Yeah. So would you say that curiosity drives you?
Yes, that's another term. Curiosity, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, curiosity. But of course, there has to be something that you see that, hey, maybe that's something new, something to be included in the recommendation. So.
Yeah. So with a career like you've had and some of these experiences and impacts, that's part of life, right? The other part is family and that part as well. Life outside the lab or off the farm, and so I'm just curious for you. What does that piece of life look like for you?
I never actually separate life and work. I just just keep on blending together, and it worked for me. I'm sure some people want to separate, strict separation in life and work, but I always remember the dairy farmers, hey, they're never really done. They could be sleeping, but they're thinking or dreaming about dairy production. But no, my kids, I've never separated work and life, if you will, but it worked for us, for me. I suppose you need an understanding wife or spouse. But now our kids are gone. They're all successful. And then we'll have 2 grandsons here pretty soon. So maybe it will, maybe, I don't know if it will work for everyone. There's really no need to separate life and work, especially agriculture, if you want to be on a global perspective.
Oh, well, very good. Well, all right. So we've covered a lot of ground today. Is there anything that you want to add that we didn't get to in this conversation?
Well, I need to thank you, for inviting me here and sharing these things. And usually, as you get older, you kind of want to revisit the past. But yeah, thanks for inviting me and asking all those nice questions, by the way. But yeah, thanks, Peggy, for inviting me in this podcast.
Well, you're very welcome. And as much as we've reflected on the past, and you say that you attribute that to getting older, I just really don't see that for you. You're just not done.
Well, no, and luckily.
There is fire in your belly.
Luckily.
To keep going.
I want to do this thing until I can't anymore, but I hope I can still visit farms, interact with growers, ranchers, and dairy producers. So there's a lot to be discovered yet. So.
Yeah, and that's an exciting future for all of us, isn't
yes.
it?
Yes. And thanks for being in agriculture, by the way. In dairy, you found something. I think you found your niche, if you will. And so once again, agriculture will be always around, as long as we eat. So.
And around, not just around, but around the world, right?
That's right. Where sometimes it's nighttime in those places. So.
Oh, well, very good. Well, thank you so much for this conversation today.
Likewise, thank you. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you for listening to the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to follow the show, share this episode with your friends in the dairy community, and leave a review. At Uplevel Dairy, we're here to highlight the leaders, the lessons, and the real-world experiences that are shaping the future of our dairy industry. Find more by following us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for behind-the-scenes content and upcoming guests. And subscribe at upleveldairy.com to get new episodes and our Dairy Insights blogs right in your inbox. I'm Peggy Coffeen, and until next time, keep on learning, keep on leading, and keep up-leveling your dairy.